Welcome to JazzHam.com. JazzHam.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online. If you want to know the price of the watch, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate it if you will buy a watch from JazzHam.com once in a while. Today we'll be reviewing two different watches from Rolex. Two different models. Here on my left we have the new style Submariner. That's the model number 126610, and we'll be comparing it against the GMT-Master 2 here on my right, reference number 126710BLRO. Of course, we'll have the links to those watches in the description below so you can take your individual look at those, but we'll be comparing the dials, bezels, case, crowns, bracelet, clasp, and we'll talk about the movement towards the end of the video. Alright, so jumping right into the dial, as you can see, they both have pretty much similar dials in the sense that they both use a sportier style dial. It's called the Maxi style dial. We have circular hour markers from the 1 to the 2, 3 to the 4, and then we have the index hour markers for the 6 and 9 o'clock position with a triangular 12 o'clock position hour marker there. Those hour markers are all fashioned in 18 karat white gold along with the hands as well. We have Mercedes style hour hands and minute hand, just a regular long minute hand, and those are fashioned in 18 karat white gold as well. Minor difference is the text of the watch. We have different style text at the 6 o'clock position. Of course, Submariner for the Submariner. As the Submariner is a diver's watch, we have the water resistance listed right underneath the name, the 300 meters of 1,000 feet. Both watches have a date window to 3 o'clock position with a Cyclops lens on top of that sapphire crystal. You can kind of see the hump on the crystal, and that's for magnification, easier viewing of that date. The GMT, however, has a distinguishing red additional hour hand right here at the 12 o'clock position that sort of has a nice contrast of red that sort of pops from the blackness of the dial. Triangular tipping as well for luminosity, so you'll be able to read the additional hour hand at night as well. Now, specifically, the Submariner itself, it has just a very small functionality. It's just your simple sports piece, whereas the GMT is sort of when you want to get into other functions and have more functions with your watch itself. So if you like playing around with more functions, then maybe the GMT is for you. But maybe just like the simplicity of the Submariner, so that might be for you instead. But overall, I'm going to show you the luminosity on both of these watches. So let me charge up the luminosity here and shut off my light box. And there we are. We have the chroma light display with long-lasting blue luminescence. This watches will glow in the dark for up to 8 hours. Minor differences in the luminosity is that, of course, we have the additional hour hand on the GMT at the 12 o'clock position, has an opposing triangle pointing outwards versus the triangulars pointing inwards from the hour 12 o'clock position. So it makes landmarking a much easier viewing of that additional hour hand. Additionally, we have on the peridot of the Submariner, we have the peridot with luminosity, whereas the GMT has nothing there. It just has its typical platinum dusted triangular tipping for the bezel. So just minor differences in where the luminosity is placed. So go ahead and turn this back on. All right. So the other thing about these two watches is that what are your options for these two watches? Actually, both of these watches, you actually don't have very many options. You have the baseline Submariner with just the black bezel, black dial. They've actually revived the old style 16610's Kermit, which is the green bezel with black dial. So you can now get this Submariner in the green bezel. The Hulk is no longer in production, so you cannot get it in the green dial anymore. So you just can switch the bezel to a green bezel now. The GMT-Master 2, the only style you can get this watch in is no changes to the dial. Once again, this is called the Pepsi actually because of the blue and red feature of the bezel, the split of the colors that it refers to the Pepsi colors. But the other style that you can get it in is called the Batman, or some refer to it as Batgirl, because of the Jubilee style bracelet. But it has a half blue, half black bezel, and the blue actually doesn't match this sort of coloration of blue, dark blue. It's more of a lighter style blue. So you don't have too many options when it comes to these style watches, but you don't really need that many options when it comes to these style watches, because they look fantastic in their own regard, and you're just looking for simplicity in most cases when you're looking towards a sports piece, or sort of a dressier sports piece when it comes to a Rolex piece. If you're looking for a more dressier style watch, you would probably look for more of a Datejust or whatnot, and we have plenty of comparison videos of those Datejust watches as well, so you can take a look at what might work for you, depending on what occasion you would need to watch for. But anyways, that's besides the point. We're just going to do a quick overview of the bezel now. Once again, black ceramic bezel, and this is a ceramic bezel as well. It just has the halftone of the blue or red. Once again, this is the Pepsi. You can also get it in a black and blue tone as well, and that's called the Batman or Batgirl. Submariner, the Submariner, you can only get it in the black and the green now. Okay, the functions of the bezel, the functionalities of the bezel are different as well. Submariners is unidirectional. As you can see, you can shift it to the left, but you cannot shift it to the right, only to the left. And it's used to track elapsed time, so you can set that peridot to the minute hand position and track the elapsed time from the platinum dusted indices, from the Arabic numerals, and such, and you can track the minutes. For the GMT, you can shift it both directions, so it's bidirectional on the bezel. And that's used to track an additional time zone. As you can see, it goes from, you can see the sort of the even odds, the odds being the sort of dot markers in between each Arabic numerals. That every Arabic numeral except for the 24. The 24 is the triangle tipped. But the rest of the Arabic numerals are in even numbers, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so on and so forth, and that's used to track track elapsed time of additional time zone. Like, for example, you can say that right now it's 11:15 in London. You can shift the bezel 7 hours ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can be tracking the time in the Philippines as well just by looking at the bezel. So you can say, oh, my London time right now is 11:15, Philippines 7 hours ahead, and then you track it from then on then forth. But that's the other interesting thing about the GMTs, because with the additional hour hand, you can track a third time zone if you really need to track a third time zone. You have just so many meetings and you just got to fly all over the place, and that's just a little fun way you can do that as well. So once again, the GMT, you have a little more functionality and the ability to track additional time zones with that. But going back to the Submariner, the reason for the unidirectional bezel is, once again, it is a diver's watch, is a sports watch. Specifically was made in the sort of thought process of, if you were to track the, your estimated time of your oxygen tanks, then you wouldn't want to bump the bezel and get a misreading and have the bezel sort of jump into a different position and you just read your watch wrong. And that's in the case that if you're doing some crazy diving, most of you probably won't be doing any diving with a Submariner watch. You'll probably just be walking around and showing it off. Well, you can track other things as well. You can track how fast you run a mile, or however long it takes you to run around your neighborhood, or you can track how long a meeting's going if it's going a little too boring for you. But that's whatever you want to do with your watch. But those are some things you can do. But anyways, moving on now, we're going to move on to the case. So the case of these watches, they almost look very, very similar in terms of size, but the Submariner has actually been updated. The GMT-Master 2, the previous version, was a 40mm, and when it was updated to this version, it kept its size at the 40mm as well, but also had the toning down of its lugs. So you can see nice slim lugs and nice slim case as well. Slim in a sense. For GMT, it is a little bit slimmer because of course the GMT has a different complication which makes the case size just a tad bit larger, which I'll show you from the side profile here in a second. But the Submariner has been updated to a 41mm case now. So it used to be a 40mm, same size as the GMT as it is now, but now it just has that additional millimeter adjustment to to the overall look of the watch. So we have a 41mm dial size, but the case itself has been updated for thinner lugs. So nice proportional view that matches with the bracelet. As the side profile view of the case, I'm going to go ahead and shift these over to the side so you can take a look. As I mentioned, both of these watches have had their case sizes slimmed down. GMT, again, slim for a GMT, as the complication, the movement is a little bit larger than the movement inside the Submariner. But you can see a nice slimmer case now. So both of these won't have too high of a profile on your wrist and will look very beautiful as well. Nice high polish on both of these, matching with the high polish on the bracelet. Going on to the other side as well, you can see very beautiful high polish on the sides as well. For both of these, the crown guards as well have been slimmed down for the adjustment to the case. Both of these, basically Rolex was sort of doing this makeover, starting with the Datejust 2, moving from Datejust 2 to the Datejust 41, but they were both still 41mm watches, I believe, but they just decided to sort of fix the proportions of their watches, slimming down the case, the lugs, adjustments to the bracelet as well. So it looks and feels much better overall than the previous models. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with the previous models. If you like a bigger case, you like the sort of chunkier look to the watch, maybe the old style models would be for you, but these are the newer style models now. So we have beautiful lugs, beautiful slim down lugs, slim down case. For the crowns, the crown guards as well, slim down. For the crowns themselves, both of their previous models used to have a little bit larger crown. These are sort of like a little bit flatter, more pancake, more rounded. But again, that's to match with the new style of cases now. For the functions of these watches, for the crown functions, I'll actually show you these, because both of these have different crown functions. So I'm going to unwind both of these watches. Rather, unwind the crowns out to the standard position. So in the standard position is where you can wind your watch. About 15 to 20 winds is all you need to get the watch started once more. From the next position, so I'm just going to pull that crown out, just one tick and one tick. I do apologize, it's a little bit hard to move it while two watches are in my hand. So the next tick will allow you to do a quick hour jump system for the GMT-Master 2, as you want to be able to adjust those time zones very quickly and very easily on the fly. So the hour hand doesn't miss where it's going. We'll jump to each hour position, and in order to change the date, you actually do have to do 2 revolutions of the hour hand, of course, for a 24-hour period to adjust the date. So as you can see, 1 revolution and 2 will change that date. Of course, going backwards will adjust it back as well. Whereas the Submariner has a quick instantaneous changing of the date. And you can see which each individual shift of the crown, you can change the date quickly and very easily. It doesn't go backwards, however, just continues to go forward. All right, and then the final position for both of these watches is going to be the same. Okay, oops. All right, and it's just for bidirectional movement of the hands. Of course, with the GMT functions, this is the only way you can move the central hour hand in order to track that additional time zone. So you do have to adjust the red hour hand first. So you can do something like that, and then push it back in, pull it to the next position, and then be able to adjust the hour hand once more. Whereas the Rolex, once again, just very simple functions of just setting the time however you like. Okay. So always make sure to screw the crown nice and tight in against the case, as you want to keep these watches water resistant. Once again, the Submariner is a diver's watch. You're looking at 300 meters or 1,000 feet as stated on the dial itself. For the GMT-Master 2, you're looking at 100 meters or 330 feet. All right, moving on to the bracelet now. So the bracelet, there's going to be differences in bracelets now. For the GMT-Master 2 used to come on an Oyster style bracelet from the previous models, but they sort of brought down sort of the unique style Jubilee style bracelet on the GMT that it used to come out very, very long time ago. So sort of throwback to those sort of older vintage models. So now we have a Jubilee style bracelet on the GMT-Master 2 now, so it makes it more of a dressier watch than a sort of like mix between a hybrid of a sporty and dressy watch. It just looks much more dressier now, with the differences in coloring from the bezel, still keeping a sports face but slimmer lugs with nice high polish, and Jubilee style bracelet now, which is a Jubilee style bracelet is much more dressier than an Oyster style bracelet. As you can see, Oyster style bracelet is kind of there to be sporty, nice and durable with its brushed finish throughout all 3-piece links, but the Jubilee style bracelet has brushed finish only on the outer of the 5-piece links, while the center 3 links are all high polished. As you can see, as I move on to the clasp, same patterning as well, high polish down the center for the GMT-Master 2, while it's a sand finish for the Submariner, and on the other side of the bracelet as well, you can see same thing. One thing I do want to mention about the Submariner though is that the Submariner actually increased the width of the center of the 3 links. So this is a 1 millimeter width difference now. So it is a little bit larger on the bracelet, but that's because once again the size is different now. It's 41 millimeters, not 40 millimeters anymore. So that really keeps the watch nice and in proportion overall. But now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the clasp. Clasps are both still sports style clasps in terms of having the safety over the folding Oyster. So I'm gonna go ahead and open each one. So open that safety, pull out the Oyster, open the safety, pull out the Oyster, and there we are. Nicely high polished clasp blades with the Rolex name embossed on there. The main functions of the clasp though are different for both watches. So I'm gonna place down the GMT-Master 2 first, and I'm going to show you the Submariners. This is one of the features that really puts the Submariner above all else, is this Oyster lock, not Oyster lock, sorry, this I'm losing the word, the glide lock extension link, that's what it was. So this is the glide lock here. Pulling the bracelet out at a 45-degree angle will pop that bracelet open, and you can see these sort of ridges on the back of the clasp, and that allows you to adjust the bracelet in 2 millimeter increments for a total of 20 millimeters, and that's really helpful in terms of the the original usage of it was, you put on the wetsuit, you have that little increase on your wrist, you can adjust for that. But nowadays you're probably walking around the mall, it's a little bit hot, watch feels a little tight on the wrist, pull it right off, change it to the size that feels more comfortable, and you can go about your day. Whereas the GMT-Master 2, this is what you get for the back of the clasp. You have this calls the Easy Link extension link, and you can see this little pivot dot here, and that's actually adjusted by a tool where you can move the bracelet itself 5 millimeters inward or outward. But unfortunately, it's not something you can do on the fly unless you're just carrying the tool around with you. So you can't adjust it as quickly, as easily as a Submariner. So that's something to keep in mind if you wear your watch often and you get very hot often. If you're sitting in an office, your wrist isn't going to change very much. So maybe the GMT could be for you. But if you're moving about throughout the day and you're wearing your Submariner, you're wearing a watch, the Submariner might be a better bet for you. So you can change that bracelet on the fly when you need that extra, that extra breathing space for your wrist. So that's something to keep in mind. Moving on to the final note, the movement. So the movements of these watches are both different movements. However, both of these were updated from their previous models. But of course, they're going to be different just because they have different functionalities themselves. So the movement of the Submariner is a new style 32-35 movement, which I think was introduced in 2015. With one of Rolex models, and the movement of the GMT-Master 2 is the 32-85 movement. Of course, their previous movements are just basically switching the position of the 2 to a 1. So this used to be a 31-35 movement. This one used to be a 31-85 movement. But Rolex has sort of moved more to in-house made parts rather than using other industries' parts. So we still have the it's still an in-house made movement by Rolex. It's a perpetual mechanical self-winding movement. Of course, the GMT-Master 2 has the GMT functions, which is like I said, the short jumping of the hour hand into different positions while having the additional hour hand as well. Whereas the Submariner just keeps it simple with just the changing of the date instantaneously, as I've shown you with the crown functions. But besides that, both are still double tested by Rolex to keep it within Swiss specs of the -2 + 2 seconds a day. Have the same functions of the hour, minute, and seconds hand. And they both have a paramagnetic blue parachrome hairspring for aiding against resistance against magnetism. Specifically for the hour reserves, they have matching hour reserves of 70 hours, so you can put both these watches out on a Friday evening, pick it back up on a Monday afternoon or a Sunday evening, and it'll be keeping time just fine. I think the only real difference I think the only real difference between the 3235 versus the 3285, I think the 3285 has the new style escapement, which is a chronology escapement and paraflex, and additionally paraflex shock absorbers. Where the industry standard shock absorbers are the KIF shock absorbers, which could still be used on this model, I believe. I'm not too sure, not 100% sure. But I do know that the 3235 has a new chronology escapement, has that new paraflex shock absorbers. The shock absorbers being in-house made shock absorbers by Rolex, and the escapement wheel being in-house made by Rolex as well. But now let me show you this watches on my wrist. So I'm going to go ahead and place that GMT-Master 2 down first, and place on the Submariner for you. So, you know, Rolex doesn't do too many crazy things. Even with the 1mm adjustment on the Submariner, you would think that it really doesn't make that big of a deal. Like, it really isn't. But I mean, looking at it on the wrist, it looks much better than a 40mm now. For me, anyways. If you're a bigger guy, this might be the better choice for you. Even though it's 1mm difference, I feel like it just makes it nicely in proportion now. You can see you know, they perfected the sort of lugs flowing very beautifully, tapering into the bracelet, and that 1mm size just really that fills out my wrist specifically. I have an average my size wrist of a 7-inch wrist, but it just looks absolutely perfect now. It just looks fantastic throughout with just those small changes. Now let me show you the GMT-Master 2, which has decided, to keep that 40mm size. Really, the thing that people didn't like was just the fact that it was only offered on the Jubilee style bracelet. But even then, the Jubilee style bracelet, so much dressier, and honestly, it looks very nice on the GMT as well. But as you can see, it looks a tad smaller on the wrist, of course, but not that bad as well. I'm just saying specifically for me, it looks, the 41 I feel fits much better than the 40. So something to keep in mind when looking at these watches. Both of them do have, you know, small height to them, so they don't jut out very high off the wrist. So if you're interested in either of these watches for the lowest possible price, check out our website at jazztime.com. We have the lowest prices guaranteed. And if you liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe below. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys soon.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.